Hey, welcome back. My name is Josh, and thank you for continuing with us in this devotional time where we're looking at the Holy Week, the last days of Jesus before his crucifixion and his resurrection. Hey, it's Thursday now, and Thursday is really highlighted by an event that we're all familiar with, the Last Supper. How many of you grew up seeing a picture of the Last Supper hanging on the kitchen wall of your grandma's kitchen? Come on, if you're like me, you saw that every time you sat down for dinner at grandma's. And listen, that picture really is the highlight of the day. But in that story, there's something that I really want to touch on. You see, Jesus tells his disciples, we're going to go into the city. There's going to be a room prepared. We're going to have a closed door dinner. There's not going to be any servants in the room, just me and my disciples. And the disciples were first to arrive, and they fixed the place. And then Jesus walks in, and he notices something. He notices all the dirty, dusty feet of his disciples. And in that moment, I think Jesus was a little taken back, because not only were the feet of the disciples dirty, but he hears the guys posturing for position. You see, Jesus had come in and absolutely confounded the Pharisees, the religious leaders, the Sadducees in Jerusalem during the Passover festivities. And they were probably thinking, come on now, Jesus is rolling. Who's going to be his chief number two? Who's going to sit at his right hand? Who's going to sit at his left hand? And Jesus is taken back by all of this, because none of that matters. And so Jesus does what others weren't willing to do. He grabs a towel, he grabs a basin of water, and he begins to wash the feet of his disciples. In this moment, he demonstrated servant leadership. And it was such an act that we talk about it time and time again, how Jesus was a leader who practiced servant leadership. And that's what Jesus did. That's what his heart was. He was for the marginalized. He was for the castaway. He was for the underserved. And time throughout the scriptures, we'd see Jesus go to the places where others wouldn't go and serve those who others weren't willing to serve. And my hope for you today is that you would have that heart to serve the underserved, that we would take on this posture of serving. We're not the type of leaders in the Jesus followers that demands a place or a position, but we look for places to serve. We look for those who are being neglected and say, I'll stand in the gap and I'll serve them. You know, later Jesus would go into the Garden of Gethsemane, and it would just begin to put everything into motion for his crucifixion. But let this moment resonate, this final supper, where the most important thing Jesus could do before he got to dinner was wash the feet of his disciples. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you back tomorrow.